What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today it's time to talk about speed. In the previous Deepwoken patch, we received a release of the new Jetstriker Oath rework, and what has changed? Is this really positive for the sake of the game? Let's begin. As you may know, the previous Jetstriker Oath was fairly problematic, clearly leading to its rework, and yeah, people did not like this. Many players never really understood why Jetstriker lacked mantras, but regardless, it made up for this downside with aggressive mobility options such as Vigil's Grace or the running knockdown slam. The running attack was a fine approach tool for Jetstrikers with a fair defense, but as the only combat tool for this oath, it made fights very boring. Since the entire focus of the previous Jetstriker was basically pure mobility, players actively avoided up-close combat to instead gain momentum. Sprinting around was the sole method of gaining momentum, and you were forced to do this to use your combat move, so it wasn't healthy for Deepwoken combat. Fortunately, the Jetstriker rework solved many of these combat degrading issues, but it still has a few problems that need to be fixed. The current momentum system that powers the updated Jetstriker has many of the same attributes, but now speed is gained in a combat positive way. Instead of just running around out of range, players are actively rewarded based on an aggressive burst type playstyle, which I think complements the oath. With this updated system, momentum can be gained from dodging or parrying enemy attacks, landing basic M1s, and striking enemies from behind with some extra bonus talents. Aggressive gameplay is extremely beneficial as a Jetstriker player since you can capitalize off a single backstab or teleporting flourish to close the gap, and this is really fun. Alongside this sort of playstyle, max momentum is very easy to gain in comparison to the last. So back in the day, you had to run around for about 2 seconds, but now gaining max speed is way faster, which is positive. The flow of battle is much more smoother, and I'm happy that they flipped the slow gameplay entirely, since breaking out of combos and running away was just super unhealthy for the state of Deepwoken. Another issue that was handled in the old oath was major problems revolving around mobility and running away, and this was an issue because people would dodge with the better Jetstriker dodge and then do a running attack, but no longer is this possible. Besides this, our climbing option, Stratos Steps, is still useful for scaling walls, but now it places a step down below that others can follow to chase you down. I do consider this change a nerf, but I think it's a great way to balance chasing against track star players. Now, let's talk about the Jetstriker mantras. First off, Jet Kick. This mantra is very fun to use, and I think it's a good mantra for the Jetstriker kit, yet it is still super buggy in actual use. Out of combat, this mantra works as a dash type of attack with an active hitbox, primarily used to escape instead of catching players. Yes, the distance could be abused to escape, but it completely changes after being hit. Once in combat, you'll chase down your target with a teleporting version of Jet Kick that can be pretty decent if used correctly. At multiple ranges, this attack seems to close the gap, but personally, I think it's very janky and hard to use. Several times, the windup for Jet Kick will occur without the actual mantra landing, and primarily, this teleport can happen by delaying damage or strange placement, breaking the flow of combat entirely. I really appreciate the idea of this mantra and how it's supposed to work for Jetstrikers, but right now the execution in game is just very shaky. Now, the other mantra, Fake Strike, is a really unique option that allows mix-ups if hit. Landing the initial part of this mantra allows for secondary kicks that are difficult to punish, often resulting in 1 or 2 kicks landing. This is a great way to keep Jetstriker players close to their target instead of running around just like before. Despite my original thoughts, this Jetstriker rework is nice for the health of Deepwoken combat. Sprinting around isn't a major incentive anymore, and mix-ups are great for keeping both players engaged in 1v1 combat. There's definitely a few issues with the mantras, but we're moving in the right direction. Share your thoughts down below, and make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks again, it's Punchin' time.